Good evening to all. In this video lecture, we are going to know about rotor side speed control of three-phase induction motor. The following topics are covered. First one, rotor resistance control. Next one, cascade control. And the last one is slip power recovery system. Dear students, rotor side speed control of three-phase induction motor is applicable only for slip ring induction motor. It is not applicable for squirrel cage induction motor. Let us take the first one, rotor resistance control. This method is applicable only for slip ring induction motor because rotor side resistance can be connected only in slip ring induction motor. The external connections taken from rotor is applicable only for slip ring induction motor. So the external resistance can be added in rotor circuit. By varying the rotor resistances which is connected externally, we can vary the speed of that particular three-phase induction motor. Look at the graph. It is for speed torque characteristics of rotor resistance control. In x-axis we have taken speed parameter. In y-axis we have taken torque in Newton meter. By varying the rotor resistance of slip ring induction motor, we can vary the starting torque, but the maximum torque is maintained at a constant level. Advantages are, by increasing the rotor resistance R2, speeds below normal value can be achieved. The starting torque of the motor increases proportional to rotor resistance. Disadvantages, first one, the large speed changes are not possible. Next one, the speed above the normal value cannot be obtained. And the second method of rotor side speed control, that is cascade control. It is also called as tandem control. Look at the circuit diagram. The cascade control requires two motors. First one, main motor M1. Next one, auxiliary motor M2. Main motor should be slip ring induction motor. Auxiliary motor used here may be slip ring induction motor or squirrel cage induction motor. But main motor, it should be slip ring induction motor. It must be slip ring induction motor. There is a coupling made between main motor M1 and auxiliary motor M2. Terminals taken from slip ring is connected with the stator coil of auxiliary motor M2. By varying the rotor resistance of slip ring M2, we can vary the speed of auxiliary motor so that we can vary the speed of main motor, because both main motor M1 and auxiliary motor M2 are coupled mechanically. We can get four various types of speed. If main motor alone runs, Ns is equal to 120F by Pa. Pa is number of poles in main motor. If auxiliary motor alone, means Ns is equal to 120F by Pb. Dear students, here we can get two types of method. First one, cumulative cascading method, another one, differential cascading method. If both motors produce the torque in same direction, then it is called cumulative cascading. Will you know well? Main motor M1 will produce its torque, similarly auxiliary motor M2 will produce its torque. If these two torque adding each other, then it is called cumulative cascading. If both motors produce a torque in opposite direction, then it is called as differential cascading. For cumulative cascade connection, speed equation N is equal to 120F divided by Pa plus Pb. For differential cascade connection, N is equal to 120F divided by Pa minus Pb. Cascade control consists of so many disadvantages. First one, it requires two motors, which makes the set expensive. Set means the whole arrangement, which includes main motor M1, auxiliary motor M2 and its related slip rings couplings arrangement. Smooth speed control is not possible. Operation is complicated. The starting torque is not sufficient to start the set. Set cannot be operated if number of poles of main motor and auxiliary motor is equal. Next one, slip power recovery system. First, students should know about slip power. The portion of air gap power which is not converted into mechanical power is called as slip power. Dear students, When three-phase AC supply connected with the stator coil, flux are produced and it is revolving in the air gap, all you know well. This rotating magnetic field not fully converted by the rotor coil, some magnitude is wasted. That power, the portion of air gap power which is not converted into mechanical power is called slip power. Slip power is nothing but multiplication of slip and air gap power. Look at the equation. Slip power is equal to S into PAG. P suffix AG. Now we have to know slip power recovery. This slip power can be recovered to the supply source that can be used to supply an additional motor, which is mechanically coupled to the main motor. This type of drive is known as slip power recovery system. It improves the overall efficiency of the system. There are two types of slip power recovery system. One is Kramer, another one is Scherbius. These two systems can further be classified into two. They are conventional method and static method. Students should know the application of slip power recovery drives. First one, large capacity pumps and fan drives, variable speed wind energy system, shipboard variable speed constant frequency system, variable speed hydro pumps or generators, utility system flywheel energy storage system. These are all the applications of slip power recovery drives. Let us take the first one, Kramer system. It is applicable only for subsynchronous speed operation. The first one, conventional Kramer system. This method is used only for large motors of capacity 4000 kilowatts or above. Look at the diagram of conventional Kramer system. It consists of three-phase AC supply main, then slip ring induction motor, slip ring induction motor, then couplings made between DC motor and slip ring induction motor. And these are all field coils of DC motor and rotary converter. This is slip ring of rotary converter. Dear student, the system consists of three-phase rotary converter and a DC motor. The slip power is converted into DC power by a rotary converter. Let us discuss the working one by one. Three-phase AC supply taken from three-phase terminal allowed to stator coil of slip ring induction motor. Now, the slip power is collected using slip rings and then it is applied to the slip ring of rotary converter. All you know well. The rotary converter used here is converting three-phase AC supply into DC supply. So rotary converter converts the three-phase AC, which is from slip ring induction motor, and then the converted DC is allowed to DC motor. Thus DC motor receives supply. By varying the field regulator of DC motor, we can vary the speed of slip ring induction motor. The system is also called as electromechanical cascade because the slip frequency power is returned as mechanical power to the slip ring induction motor shaft by the DC motor. Advantages of conventional Kramer system. Any speed within the working range can be obtained. If the rotary converter is overexcited, then the leading current which compensates for the lagging current drawn by slip ring induction motor and hence improves the power factor of the system. This is the main advantage of conventional Kramer system. Then the static Kramer. Static means we are introducing power electronic switches, power semiconductor switches in the conventional scheme. So it is called a static Kramer system. Instead of using a rotary converter, we are using three-phase diode bridge rectifier. Here the rotary converter is replaced by a three-phase diode bridge rectifier or control rectifier. In the circuit, three-phase AC connected with the stator part of slip ring induction motor and then slip power taken from rotor circuit is allowed to three-phase diode bridge rectifier. The slip power is connected with the help of slip ring induction motor. Now three-phase diode bridge rectifier is used to convert that three-phase AC supply into DC. Then the output of this converter, that is DC supply, allowed to the DC motor. By varying the field of the DC motor, we can vary the speed of DC motor so that we can vary the speed of slip ring induction motor. In this way, we are utilizing the slip power as well as we are controlling the speed of slip ring induction motor. Dear students, conventional Cramer system also called as electromechanical cascade system. Now the Cherpier system. The Cherpier system is similar to Cramer system, but only the difference is that in the Cramer system the feedback is mechanical and in the Cherpier system the return power is electrical. Look at the diagram of conventional Cherpier system. Three-phase mains RYB. From three-phase mains, the stator part of slip ring induction motor is energized. Slip power is taken from rotor connections, that is slip ring of the motor SRIM. Now three-phase AC supply, which is called slip power, is allowed to rotary converter that converts three-phase AC into DC. Then the converted DC is applied to DC motor. All you know well about DC motor, that converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. So the output of DC motor, that is mechanical energy, is allowed to induction generator. Now induction generator converts the mechanical energy of DC motor into electrical energy. Now the electrical energy is fed back to the main. Here field regulator is used. It is for separately excited DC motor used in this system. This method consists of, as I said earlier, slip ring induction motor, rotary converter, DC motor and induction generator. The slip ring induction motor speed can be controlled by varying the field regulator. This is field regulator of the DC motor. Static Cherpier system. For the speed control of slip ring induction motor, both below and above synchronous speed, static Cherpier drive system is used. The system can again classified as DC link static Cherpier drive and cycloconverter static Cherpier drive. Let us take the first one, DC link static Cherpier drive. It is furtherly classified into two. First one, subsynchronous speed operation. Next one, supersynchronous speed operation. Subsynchronous speed means speed less than the synchronous speed. Supersynchronous speed means speed above the synchronous speed. Let us see the first one, subsynchronous speed operation. Look at the circuit diagram of subsynchronous speed operation. In the box we have provided the power flow. Dear students, three-phase AC supply is connected to stator terminals of SRIM, and the slip power taken from the rotor terminals is allowed to bridge 1 called a rectifier circuit, and then it converts three-phase AC into DC. Then the output of rectifier is allowed to inverter. It converts DC into three-phase AC. Then the three-phase AC is allowed to the transformer. Then the secondary of transformer connected with the three-phase mains. So the power flow starts from slip power, then rectifier, and then inverter, then transformer. Finally, it is again fed back to the supply. Here we are using smoothening reactor. It is used to avoid circulating current which flows between rectifier and inverter. Students should know that when the firing angle of SCR is less than 90 degree, at the time the bridge acting as rectifier. When the firing angle of the bridge is greater than 90 degree, at the time it acts as an inverter. In supersynchronous speed operation, the power flow is totally opposite to that of the previous one, that is subsynchronous speed operation. Here the supply allowed to the transformer, then the secondary of transformer connected with the bridge 2. Now the bridge 2 acting as rectifier because the firing angle is less than 90 degree. Then the output of rectifier is DC, that is allowed to the inverter bridge 1 because the firing angle is greater than 90 degree. So bridge 1 acting as inverter. The output of inverter is three-phase AC supply. It is allowed to the rotor coils. Now from the stator part, we are collecting the energy and then it is fed back to the three-phase AC supply. Dear students, while comparing subsynchronous speed operation and supersynchronous speed operation, subsynchronous speed operation is very useful and easy, but supersynchronous speed operation is complicated. Thank you all.